Hello everyone, and welcome back to Dragalia Foundry for another anniversary video. In this video, I want to talk about all of the double drop events that are happening as part of the anniversary, as well as the login bonuses, and provide some advice on how to approach that, how to handle it, and try to maximize your time during this weekend when we have these double drops active and the early part of next week. Now, double drops in the game are honestly a big way that enfranchised players have gotten ahead in the past. Right now, anybody who's starting Dragalia Lost for the first time has some advantages. Their facilities are going to build twice as quickly. There's lots of good reasons why this is a great time to start, and it's the best time to start, in part because of the first anniversary bonuses. So first I want to talk about that, and then I'll get into the strategy around the double drops, just so that this is a little bit of a guide for what's going on with the anniversary and how to make the most of it. To start things off, we have 10 days of login bonuses starting on the 27th at reset, so the day of the anniversary, and this will actually last all the way until November 1st. The catch is that you do need to log in 10 days in that period, and you only get 10 days worth of rewards. But even if you start playing the game later and are watching this at another time, you haven't necessarily missed it if you're still within that window. So the first day, the bonus you get is 5,000 Wormite. The second day, you get a level 100 special dragon who's fully unbound, wind dragon called Mini Mids, who's so cute. You can see him in the screenshot I've pulled up here. Super cute, super adorable. Who knows what type of effect he'll have? Maybe he has something really helpful that's good for grinding or catching up. Maybe it's completely useless, but either way, just as a souvenir of the anniversary, what a treat, what a delight to have Mini Mids. Day 3, 100,000 Eldwater. That is a lot of Eldwater. When you get a duplicate 5-star in the game, you get around 8,000, 8 to 9,000 Eldwater. So 100,000 is enough to promote a 4-star character and just about bring them up to their max potential, max out their co-ability. It's around 100,000 to do that. So that is an awesome amount of Eldwater. You could promote up to 4 4-star characters. If you're starting off, you could promote your Yuden and your Elisan, who are really good story adventurers, right away. The day after that, day 4, 350 consecrated water. That's enough consecrated water to take a 5-star print from level 1 all the way to level 100 and then some. This is absolutely awesome. The way that Dragalia Lost works is things do kind of snowball. The more events you play in, the more good rewards you collect, the more powerful your team becomes, and the further you're able to push in subsequent events. But this gives you a big head start or a big leg up if you're more enfranchised. So for me, this lets me say, hey, I can go into the Wormprint shop, pick anything I want, and bring it to max level. If you are new, I highly suggest the one Wormprint that you can get without fear of it being outclassed, and it's been very good since its release, is called Resounding Rendition. It's a 5-star print, it provides up to 30% skill damage and 8% critical rate so long as your HP is above 70%. If you had to use this consecrated water right away on one print, honestly, that is going to be your go-to for probably 95% of content, and it's just a really good general use print for pretty much any attacker. Day 5, you're going to get 4 Moonlight Stones. Moonlight Stones let you unbind any 4-star dragon, so they're like a wild card for 4-star dragons. Dragons increment only when they're max unbound. Their ability only powers up when they're max unbound. So they're kind of all or nothing. So if you have a good 4-star dragon who boosts purely strength, those include Ifrit, Lindworm, Juggernaut, Vojanoi, and Rock. One of those types of dragons, and especially Ifrit, I would say, because when you're first starting off, having a good flame dragon for Yuden and for High Midgard Stormer eventually is pretty helpful. But any of those dragons are good candidates for this Moonlight Stone, and you might actually want to use them all on one dragon, or enough of them on one dragon to max and bind it, because that's when you really see a big power jump. But once again, this is a great way to catch up. It's a great resource if you are a newer player or if there's any 4-star dragon in your barracks who isn't maxed and bound yet. On day 6, 4 steel bricks. This is used to unbind 4-star weapons, and I would strongly suggest you save this for elemental weapons. Either void weapons you're using for void battles like the void dragons, so Jeanne d'Arc, Poseidon, Agni, Zephyr, those are probably the 4 because Void Nidhogg actually has 5-star weapons, but either those, which you do get a lot of use out of, or more probably, a 4-star core weapon. The core weapons have skills rather than abilities, and they're kind of like all-purpose weapons. The void weapons are more like silver bullets that are particularly effective in certain contexts, but aren't always going to be the best choice for the job. So if possible, I would suggest save these steel bricks for the core weapons once they're at the elemental stage. If you are newer, it's going to take a while for your smithy to get up to a point where that's possible to craft, so just hang on to these for the time being. That's probably the best course of action. On day 7, you're going to get 3 Champions Testaments. In order to power up 5-star adventurers, you do need Champions Testaments to unlock the final 10 nodes of their mana circle. You can only take them up to 40 nodes, at which point you need a Champion's Testament to unbind the last ring. Then you need another Testament to power up their main skill to level 3. And finally, you need another Champion's Testament to unlock what's called the Damascus Crystal node in their mana circle in the final ring. So if you really want to max a character out who's a 5-star, you do need 3 of these, and it's just enough to do that. These are a really precious and scarce resource. Honestly, one of the only remaining reasons to spend money in some sense, because they are that scarce that you do tend to get 5 stars faster than you can build them. You'll have a lot of 5-star characters you can take up to 40 nodes, but you do have to be a little judicious and selective of which ones you actually take up to 50 nodes or 45 nodes. So if you happen to get Gala Cleo or Gala Yuden, I would say it's probably a safe choice to spend those testaments on those characters with how powerful they look. Otherwise, you might want to hang on to these 2, wait until you've played a bit, and have an ability to make a little more informed decision. The other use case for this is for 4 stars. They also have that Damascus Crystal node, so 4 stars, 3 stars, they would also take 1 of these if you wanted to max them out completely. On day 8, we are getting a Damascus Ingot. This lets you unbind a 5-star weapon of your choice by 1 stage. I would suggest you hang on to this one because one of the things that was teased in the digest is we're going to be getting new 5-star weapons from the High Dragon Trials that are another tier of power above what we have now. So for that reason, I would suggest you hold. If you are newer, that may be a ways out for you and you may not want to hold. The one piece of advice I seriously have for you is don't waste this on anything that is not a core 5-star elemental weapon. A core weapon has a skill, for the record. An elemental means it has a color, it's tied to an element. So yeah, don't use this earlier in the crafting process because the dividends for using it later are just so much higher. It may take a while before you actually get to use it, but hang on to it. It is a precious item. On the level of Champion's Testaments, they are very slow to accrue. You're going to get a 5-star summon voucher for a dragon, which is a new type of item on day 9. We've had 5-star summon vouchers in the past for adventurers, but for a dragon, that's brand new, so we don't know what the pool will be, we don't know what it's going to include. It may include limited dragons, probably not. It may include recent dragons, but maybe it'll be tailored just to some of the launch dragons or past dragons. That's still an unknown, but that's going to be good. I feel like you can probably spin that pretty safely, just because dragon duplicates are pretty good to help you max unbind them, especially at 5-star. You may end up getting something where you've already max unbound the dragon, but you could always hang on to the spare copy, and for certain dragons, a single copy of a 5-star dragon is about as good or better than a max unbound 4-star dragon. And finally, on day 10, we are going to get 1 Sunlight Stone. Another great resource that lets you unbind any 5-star dragon of your choosing, just like the Testament and the Ingot. It's precious, it's a rare item, it's a wild card, so use it wisely. I would suggest you save it for skill damage dragons like Shinobi, Siren, Konohana Sakuya, Vayu. There's not one for light yet, but any of those other dragons are very strong. But honestly, you want to really save these until the point where you can get that dragon up to max unbound, similar to my advice on the Moonlight Stones. Well, that was a lot to say about the bonuses, but honestly, they are just that good. So let's briefly talk about the free tenfold summoning that's coming up. That's going to last 10 days, so it's 100 free summons. My advice on this is just make sure you are doing this every day. It's a huge advantage. And for the showcases that are happening during this, you want to try save your summoning. If you are patient, it will pay off. Save your summoning until after the freebies, because if you get 5 stars off your freebies, great, that's awesome. Then you can make a determination of if you want to continue or not. If you don't get 5 stars, your pity rate has gone up, so when you do summon on the last day of the banner, you already have a heightened pity rate, and all your Wormite is going in and giving you a higher chance that you're going to get multiple 5 stars in tenfolds you're doing. So just be patient with this, see if you get what you're going after first before you just blow all your Wormite on day 1. Besides that, we have these limited time packs that are coming up. I still don't know the price on these, but in my opinion, the Champions pack is probably going to be about $4. Anniversary upgrade pack, not 100% sure, but they might do 15 on that, or maybe a little bit lower. The Unbind pack is pretty large. That is likely to be expensive, but that does have the most precious materials. The upgrade pack is good in the sense that it has a lot of consecrated water though, and all 3 of those are probably going to be good purchases. The other series of packs are these 5-star adventure, 5-star dragon, and 5-star double packs. I would probably only go for those if you are really willing to drop a lot of currency. Honestly, the Unbind pack tends to be better because those wild card unbinding items you get to use for something productive, for something you actually want. When you're doing those 5-star adventure and dragon packs, it is random what you get. And because of that, you might end up getting a duplicate. And in the case of adventurer, it would feel really bad if you get a duplicate adventure after spending $25 is what I'm thinking on these. The double pack might be a special price, maybe it'll be $40 instead, and if it's $40, it might actually be kind of decent because of the amount of diamantium you have. That's really all I can say on those packs with what we know right now. So finally, that brings us to the main part of this video I want to talk about, which is how to take advantage of the anniversary events. So starting at reset, the day anniversary begins, we have half stamina for the main campaign. If you're starting off, this is perfect. I made a separate video about how to start off strong in Dragalia Lost, but the first thing you want to do is try clear as much of the campaign as possible, at least through Chapter 6 to do your dailies. Chapter 7, there's some monthlies that you can get that there's still time for. Chapter 8, you'll get a new character. Chapter 9, you unlock augments, which you can obtain by playing Astral Raids, which are also happening this weekend. Chapter 10, it's the latest chapter, there's lots of good story beats. It's a cool chapter if you want to round out and finish off the campaign, but they do get progressively harder, so I feel like up to 6 is going to be accessible for any player. You may need to start playing in co-op as you get further and further, even though it's half stamina. Don't be afraid to use wings if you are newer, because you're going to get a lot of wings as you level up. Besides that, we have double drops for Imperial Onslaught. This is a really big one because a lot of the longer to build facilities in the game require drops from Imperial Onslaught, and so do the 5-star elemental weapons. And basically, this is the time. Any ashes you have, any honey you have, burn it all down to 0. Play as much of this IO as you can this weekend, because this only lasts a couple of days, really. So you really want to try to do this while you have the opportunity to do so. It looks like all types of Imperial Onslaught are going to be included, all elements. So try to do this. Get your dojos to as high a level as possible, because with normal drop rates, it does take a very long time. So this is the major sink for any wings, any stamina that you have. Now, Avenue to Power is not one I would really encourage you to do double drops on, but if you are brand new, honestly just any of these double drops are appreciated, and it does take a while to level up your adventurers, but you pretty much just get mana and crystals from that quest, so it's not really a highlight here. For the Dragon Trials, depending on how many wings and how much stamina you have, the double drops on that is the best time to farm up Dragon Orbs and Scales, which are used to level up your Dracoliths. Dracoliths aren't a high priority in the early game, but by the time you're taking on higher level Mercurial Gauntlet, they do make a difference. And so what I usually do is I just play as much of a Dragon Trial as I need while it's on double drops to save up the orbs that I would eventually need to get that particular Dracolith facility up to its max level of 20. So right now my only facility as far as Dracoliths go that isn't at level 20 is my Shadow one, that's at level 15. So I'm going to try calculate and do just enough Dragon Trials so that I can get that up to 20 by the time the double drops period ends. The other two are Elemental Ruins and Avenue to Fortune. When you're beginning, Elemental Orbs are very precious because you need them to level up your Elemental Altars. And you'll see in the other video I made about how to start off strong is when you're first starting off, you want to level up whatever facility you happen to have stuff to level up. You want to go wide and not focus on building tall a few facilities. You want to get as many as you can to whatever moderate range you can, because that unlocks further and further levels of your entire Halidom as a whole. So if Elemental Orbs are your constraint, if you see that you don't have orbs to get to a next level on any facility, then you probably want to take a look at this. Avenue to Fortune is similarly something that is a good sink for stamina. And in general, I would say any quest that costs 15 stamina, use stamina on that and not Gather Wings. Imperial Onslaught, use Gather Wings, feel comfortable to use Gather Wings. Dragon Trials kind of in the middle, you can use Gather Wings if you need to. But for me, I'm probably going to play a fair amount of Avenue to Fortune just to get a stockpile of maybe like 5 million rupees, just to have enough to craft a couple weapons. I'm going to play the Dragon Trials so I can make my Shadow Dracolith, and then everything else going into Imperial Onslaught so I can make sure I have enough to get all my dojos to level 31, since my staff and dagger dojos aren't quite there yet. And then I'm going to keep playing to make sure I get enough to get my bow dojos to 35, or as far as I can take them. So that's pretty much what I think on those events, how to take advantage of the double drops. There are a few other little housekeeping things from the digest that I wanted to bring up since I didn't really bring them up anywhere else. We are going to have 6 free item summons, so make sure that you're taking advantage of that. The hammer that we saw that lets you instantly build a facility is going to drop. That is part of the new item summons, so that's kind of cool. And then finally, Fractured Futures is right around the corner. That's actually going to start on the 30th in my time zone, or if you're on the West Coast, at reset the 29th, the night of the 29th leading into the 30th. And that's going to be a raid event where you can actually get a 5-star elemental weapon of your choice. I'll probably talk more about that raid since I'm definitely going to discuss the units that were previewed. I'm going to discuss the changes in this version update in a future video, since those include some changes to raids. But that's all I want to say for today. So I hope that you enjoyed watching. I hope this video was helpful and more of a breakdown than my initial reaction. Have a great anniversary tomorrow. Definitely check out my review of Gala Yuden and the Gala showcases coming up if you haven't already. But otherwise, take care everyone, and I'll see you next time.